Why are women attracted to the bad, 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 bad boys? What's up? It's your boy, A to the L to the A to the N. I'm Alan.
And my name is Nicole.
And welcome to the House of Love podcast.
House of Love is a relationship podcast where real talk meets real solutions. Each episode, we talk about the difficult conversations, love, dating, marriage, intimacy, and so much more.
So whether you're single, dating, in a relationship, or somewhere in between, House of Love offers wisdom, laughter, and the candid conversations about the everyday topics hot off the press. Because in the end, love wins. So in today's topic, we want to talk about the why women are attracted to the bad, 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 bad boys.
Bad, 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 bad boy. I wouldn't change you if I could.
So hence, we got this beautiful artwork done by Nicole with Will and Martin from Bad Boys. We got Tupac, and then we got Nipsey in the background. So appropriate paintings for this topic of conversation.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a topic that I think most women may not want to admit, but we always see the story, especially the good girl drawn to the bad boy.
And we always feel it when we see it in middle school, high school, college, and in our early adulthood as well.
Yeah, even you're right. Even in high school, the girls always want the ones hanging out in the hallway and not in class. So we're going to get into that in today's episode and just talk about a few reasons why women go for the bad boys and how it works out in the end. Okay, so the first point is confidence and dominance, right? And there's something about a bad boy or the idea or the persona of the bad boy that draws us in. We tend to think bad boys have a higher confidence, right? We think that they're assertive, and I think that attracts us as women because it gives off this sense of masculinity that's supposed to make us feel like safe and protected. But I think we get confused sometimes in what safe and protection is from to a certain extent. You know, thinking that image automatically means you're going to protect us and you're safe for us.
Right, and I think kind of historically when you see it, it does potentially exude that, right? But it could be a false sense of security, right? Because we also know that there are plenty of bad boys or thugs that are on the down low, that are sometimes in and out of jail, that are sometimes fostering abusive relationships, more than one, that are sometimes creating a lot of broken homes by having multiple baby mamas, by sometimes, gaining funds fast, but not necessarily legal, right? So I think that masculine trait is good. It's almost like for us, right? It's good for a short time. It's good for a fun time, but not a long time. Long term, you cannot sustain that because something happens. It was interesting. I was looking at an episode, I can't think of the title of it, but I saw it on YouTube, where a guy, it's a bad boy, he left his money to his woman, and it was a lot of money, and she grew that money. And in the process of growing that money, she started businesses. She found ways to have multiple streams of income. Then after he did his bid, while he was in, she decided to divorce him and leave him. And then after he did his bid, he came looking for her. And, he was threatening her. He was trying to at least get some of the money recouped because he's coming out of jail with nothing. Then eventually, when she took her son to the barbershop, that's when he made his move and he unalived her in the barbershop, right? So sometimes with that bad boy image, it only takes a short trigger or something triggering in order for them to make a lifelong decision because they've been in the system. A lot of them say it all the time. They're not afraid to go back.
Yeah, and I think the moral of this point is don't confuse certain aspects of the bad boy image to thinking that that's going to give you security for the long term, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of times we get confused. Just because it gives off that image doesn't mean it's masculine or it's safe for you.
And I know plenty of nurses that are still stuck in that phase, right? Where they are 40 plus years old and the allure of a dude posting guns or wearing all the chains in the club and he got sagging pants at 40, 42, 45 is still attractive. Ooh, girl, I like him. Ooh, girl. Really? Because we all know what sagging backwards is, right? So you need to stay away from those type of men.
That reminds me of the girl, I think I might have sent it to you on IG. She from out here in DC and she was pretty much saying she don't want no good dude. dude. Like, she want a man that's not a man. She wants a dude that's like pretty much like gonna be her butt, you know, or beat her up, whatever. So it's just like women actually coming out and saying that, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, why do you want this guy who's gonna bring toxicity into your life only for you to cry about it later?
Yeah.
Like, you think it's cool. And this is a girl who looked like she was at least 30.
And women, like, that's a great point. Right down below in the comments, what's the attraction or the allure of the bad boy, whether it's short term or long term, or even if you're currently with one, what's the attraction level and how does it make you feel?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I'm all perfect and prissy, but as you get older, you learn and you grow and you do better. At least you should. And so being attracted to the bad boy, for me, it was like I always had these good, clean, pretty boys, right? And they behind closed doors treated me horribly. So I'm like, well, maybe a bad boy, maybe I can get the opposite out of him. And so that was kind of my attraction to the bad boys that I did gravitate to. But it's not fun in the long run. So yep, let us know, ladies. I know a lot of y'all like it, and let us know what draws you in and how that went for you. Okay, so the next point is the excitement and novelty behind a bad boy. And that's kind of like the thrill that we naturally get. And I've heard a lot of people say this, men and women, like, you get a thrill out of things that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, it's an adrenaline rush.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Right. And I think a lot of the allure of that adrenaline rush is that quick excitement that it provides, right? But those highs and lows of riding that roller coaster, eventually the ride comes to an end.
Yeah. And I mean, I do understand it. It is a real thing. And, you know, sneaking to do something. Think about when you were a kid, right? You sneaking to go outside when you weren't supposed to. You sneaking to stay up late.
Sneaky links.
Right. Sneaky links don't end up well.
Right.
So yes, it is a thrill. It's a real thing. And again, you just have to think about the long-term effects of when you get that short temporary fulfillment, what does that mean for you long-term? Because a lot of times people get in too deep, right? They're just like, oh, I just want to do this. I'm just going to do this for the moment. It's fun for right now. I'm in some women say my phase, right? And this is good for me right now. But what about if I always say this, like, what about if you get pregnant? What about if you get in too deep and then years later you're like, damn, this was only supposed to be a fling and now I'm in too deep and now it's just very toxic for your life.
So similarly, that's a good point that you bring up. Ladies, when you're in your 3 or 4 phase, sometimes that have a negative impact on your psychological ability to pair bond with somebody, right? You know, when you talk about trauma bonding and being in situations that you identify with because of the level of toxicity, you also have to think about being able to pair bond with somebody. And usually from studies that have shown, and this is years of studies because I just read up on this not too long ago, women that have anywhere over we just call it 7 to 10 bodies find it very difficult to pair bond with somebody long term because they're used to that short excitement, right? So while you are exploring in your 3 or 4 phase, it's important to know that it can have adverse consequences later on in life. And I think that's what a lot of what we're seeing when we get to some of the women in our community over 40 that's finding it difficult not only to pair bond with somebody but just to bond with somebody individual, because as men we can sense it, we can feel it.
We should do a whole episode on the 3 or 4 phase because, and when does it expire? When should you quit it? We will do an episode on that.
Like Drea said, she feel like her 3 or 4 phase is deleted. Like Brittany Renner says, nobody can tell her how to live her life. No, it has adverse consequences because, especially for them being in the public eye and being on the internet, people that'll live forever. So people always remember them by that. So now she's 42 and got a 23-year-old, not only got pregnant by a 23-year-old, but has a 23-year-old boyfriend, which just happens to be the same age as her son, right?
Crazy.
So more to come on the 3 or 4 culture in today's society that's essentially influencing our youth and having an adverse effect on our ability to have long-term committed relationships and or get married.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next topic, if you have been watching any of our episodes or if this is your first time seeing us and you are interested in more conversation, like adult, mature conversations between man and woman, definitely subscribe to our channel, watch our other podcast episodes, and follow us on Instagram too at House of Love for more content. The next topic is the psychological attraction to challenge. And so a lot of women feel like this bad boy has potential. He will change for me. You know, he has all of these things going on, and that, you know, she's kind of picking him apart like, okay, I like this, like that, but this can change. We can work on that. And she's attracted, and this happens with men too. They're attracted to the fact that they think they can psychologically put themselves up to the challenge and change this person. And I think that they gravitate to that sometimes. Like, you know, men might find a girl at a strip club, for example, they're like, oh, she bad, you know, I can change her ways. Like, there sometimes some men are whipped by these strippers. Listen,
fellas, we all guilty of it. I've said it myself.
T-Pain, I'm in love with a stripper.
Girl,
like,
I can take you away from all of this. Why are you even in here?
Exactly. And it's like, it's the same thing, right? Y'all think that you can change that part of them. And some of those women are, I know a guy who has a baby with a stripper, and, you know, he was willing to help her, get her on her like hair salon journey and stuff, get her out the strip club. And she just don't want to do it. She likes the lifestyle. And same with the bad boy who might be on the streets working, you know, hustling or whatever. They get a thrill out of that, so you're not going to change them.
Yeah, exactly,
You know?
and that's what we're facing nowadays with the whole Cardi B and Offset situation. Can't turn the 304 into a housewife. They'll always revert back to what they feel comfortable because that's their defense mechanism. One of the things about women, you all do what makes you feel safe. So being with the bad boy makes you feel safe. Being in your 304 phase when things are sometimes going awry makes you feel safe. You revert back to your old ways. Sometimes you can be your own detriment because, hey, I try to be this good girl or try to be this good woman and it doesn't fit my personality because I'm in too deep. And I think that's where you gotta, again, look in the mirror to say, is this the path I want to continue on? And accept the consequences that come with that? Or you gotta make a change. And that making a change piece is sometimes difficult. And I think the hard part about changing is what? Stepping out of your comfort zone. A lot of people don't like to have the uncomfortable conversations. A lot of people don't like to, you know, get in their word, study the good book that's going to help them in life and change some of their ways or get in a positive community group or a girl circle or, you know, get with some people that are like-minded that have come from that background and have done the work to release themselves of those old demons.
And the reality is, you can't, this is a lesson, I've said this before, I've learned in dating, you cannot date potential. People have to want to change.
Good one. Yeah.
You can't. Like, that strikes a chord with me because I've been that person that thinks that he can change for me. I'm a good girl. I know how to treat him right. He can change for me. And reality is they got to want to change.
Absolutely.
Period. All right, so we're almost done. We have 2 more points. The next point is the media and cultural influence. So the media and cultural influence behind the bad boy image. It's always pushed in. This is for women too, like the overly sexualized woman. But the media influences us so much, so we think that this is what we should be drawn to. This is what we think we should be attracted to, and thus that's what we go out and we pick when we're at the club. We don't go and pick the guy with the glasses that's looking nerdy with his pants pulled up, you know, his pants pulled up and tucked in and a belt on. We don't go for that one. That one comes to us and we like, bye, you know?
Right.
The best way you can help is by getting out of here immediately.
I'll have you know Mr. Clumsy was the old Steve Urkel. The new Steve Urkel is Mr. Graceful.
And it's the media that plays a big role in what is attractive in a man. And, you know, the gangster rap to the trap music, it's attractive to us because it's constantly pushed in our face.
Yeah, and I think I've had an example of that, right? I don't consider myself nerdy, but I consider myself confident. I've approached a woman and she said, boy, if you don't get out of my face unless you're ready to pay all my bills, get my hair done, get my makeup done, not knowing, damn, this is just in a regular lounge situation, not knowing that when I followed her on Instagram that she was a whole stripper. So she had that mindset, right? So a lot of times those no's are blessings in disguise, right? Because sometimes that's for your own protection. So, you know, you're going to get a lot more no's in life. You know, whether it's dating, whether it's jobs, whether it's, you know, relationship, you're going to get a lot more no's than you get yeses. So it's important that when you get those yeses, that's letting you know that you've done the work, you prepared yourself for it, and that confidence that you built, that person appreciates exactly who you've come to be.
Of course. And the moral of the story with this point is you cannot let the media or social media or what the culture is influence what you go after. You have to really just know what works for you and what feels good to you at the end of the day. So don't get distracted by what's sexy in the media, because you don't know what it look like for those men or those relationships behind closed doors.
And I think a lot of that goes to show on Instagram. We see a lot of those Instagram baddies that's always traveling behind closed doors. They get beat. And you don't know what they're doing.
And it's like, what are you willing to go through for that lifestyle?
Right. And some people, you know, we've heard it. They going to Dubai and they getting pooped on just for some money, right? It's a lot of things. Again, ladies, take care of what you can control and don't be allured by the things that you see, because a lot of people are sacrificing their well-being, they're sacrificing their image, their self-worth, they're sacrificing their mental ability, because eventually, as time goes on, you think about and reflect on your life, and you like, hey, why did I spend all that time wasting it on something that didn't pay me dividends? Or even look at, Love and Hip Hop, or look at, some of the video vixens that were hot when videos were hot in, the 90s and early 2000s.
That's before my time.
Nobody's checking for them right now, right? So a lot of them are having to revert to do different things just to get notoriety, including sites like OnlyFans. So again, eventually, beauty fades. There's a new model that comes out every year, and a lot of what you see from a short-term perspective of what you deem as important from a materialistic perspective is not what it appears to be. It's a mirage. It's not what it appears to be.
Agree. And I think the last point is just the youth immaturity factors when it comes to why women go for the bad boy. A lot of times in the younger years, late teens,
that's
20,
a long time for you.
He try to play with me so much. I don't really get it. But yeah, so women are attracted to that in their younger years, right? Most of the time. Some women get old and are still attracted to it, right? But a lot of times you're attracted to it in your younger years. And if you get stuck with that person as you get older and mature, then you start to realize, okay, no, this is not what I want anymore. This type of person does not fit where I am in my life, especially if you're a woman who actually grows and matures yourself. If you stay in that immature mindset, y'all gonna both be just in the trap lifestyle forever. But I just think a lot of times attracted to the bad boy comes for the younger girls, the younger women who kind of don't know no better and they kind of don't really have anything going yet for themselves. So it's fun, it's exciting. I'm just having a good time.
But I think it's important as well to discuss, even if you're having a good time, there should still be boundaries in place.
It should.
A good time is not somebody wailing on you and you calling it love. I had the misfortune one time of not knowing who I approached, and she appeared to be nice and feminine. And as we were having conversations, as time went on, the exact statement that she made to me was, "You ain't ever been in love before?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have." "Well, I just can't get with a dude because I don't know if he loved me or not if he don't put his hands on me."
Poor baby. Poor baby, that's sad. It's
right. And I'm just like, that was the last conversation and the last date, because you've been in this cyclone of toxicity for so long that you feel that that's right. And I think we live in a culture now where right is wrong and wrong is right. And where do we
people want to break the rules? It goes back to what we said in the beginning of the episode. We're attracted to what we're not supposed to do, even from a young age. So they feel like they just want to rebel, and it's exciting, but like you said too early on, it's an adrenaline rush, but it's temporary.
Right, it's temporary. And I think if you can break those curses, right, we can start to break some of the generational curses that we are seeing in our community, because our ultimate goal is to, reduce the amount of broken homes and to start to challenge the thinking and behaviors that we see in the media.
Yeah.
Me personally, for that very reason, I've gotten rid of cable, right? I do more of the apps, right? So I can watch shows, or when Christmas time come around, we can watch more of the Love Christmas shows or things of that magnitude, because you see so much filth in commercials.
Filth.
You see so much filth in a regular TV program that you're programming yourself, where versus you can kind of select and choose, and then as it pops up, it recommends those things that you used to seeing, so you can binge watch some shows or some Mystery Mind shows. I don't want to be binge watching Snapped, Fatal Attraction, or listening to Storytime on TikTok, where it took people 56 or however long that lady broke her episode up.
Lisa Tisa, what's her name?
I can't remember, but
yeah.
But having those stories, I don't want to be a part of nobody's story time.
What you put into your mind and in your spaces, it reflects onto who you are and who you become.
Right.
And ultimately, with this podcast, we want to, based on the things we've learned in dating and relationships, we want to be a part of the change, and we want to give y'all the tools and inspire the conversations to be had so that we can move forward as people, as adults in relationships. And we're seeing more and more, and I love it on social media, people getting married,
Absolutely.
Weddings and
engagements.
And I know a lot of women, even the ones in toxic relationships, see that and they're like, yes, I want that. Where's my king? I want my ring.
Right.
But you have to put in the work, and you have to really understand what it's going to take to get there. And I think podcasts like this help people to think further, think deeper, and really prepare for those mature, lifelong relationships.
Yeah, and I think that plays a good role in how well you feel that, hey, I deserve better.
Yeah.
It's time for me to make a change.
Yes.
When you see pages like Black Love page on Instagram, or you see Black Love on Instagram, or you see Dear Future Wifey podcast, those are some good...
And you see things like, not to cut you off, you see things like Juvenile being married for so long, who was a rapper, whatever.
Ice Cube,
LeBron and Savannah, just a lot of Black people NBA player, rapper, who you see the bad boy image in some of those rappers, but they've been committed and stayed down with their partner, whatever they went through over the years. There is longevity in black marriages, Black couples, and I think we just need to show more people how to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there'll be times where we can be entertained by the fictitious stuff or the sensationalized stuff or the imagery, right? But we have to remember that representation matters. So as that's being portrayed in the media, that sometimes can play a role in our ability to pair with somebody, to partner with somebody, to procreate with somebody, to marry somebody. So I think once we start to get rid of some of the negativity and some of the filth and filter through all the stuff that's real versus reality TV, because reality TV is not reality, we can start to get more positive outcomes and moving the needle forward in the community.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this was a great episode. Like I said, we just want to continue to give y'all all the good vibes, good energy towards mature adult relationships and inspire some conversations.
And believe there'll be times, where we kind of talk reality and what's going on or what it gets everybody buzzing. But again, on the House of Love podcast, we want to see more couples come together, more people getting married, especially in the Black community. We invite all the communities to follow House of Love, but obviously we're reflective of the community we represent. So a lot of what we see plays a role in how we grew up, our background, our dynamics, and we want to see better for our community. But for some of the people that, like the entertainment, right? Check out After Hours at the House, where we talk about some of the current events that are going on that people like to sensationalize and focus in on. I think that's going to be interesting segue and an interesting subtopic for our House of Love podcast, because people may have decided they don't want to be married. They good in their singlehood, or they good being single forever or whatever. But again, we're a community that's growing. We're a community all about love, all about faith, all about family, and all about fewer broken homes. So we got a little bit of everything for everybody. So again, we invite you to subscribe, like, comment, and definitely share this message. We want to get it out to a multitude of people all across the world, because in the end, love wins.